AFA Today on AFR Talk. Kevin McCullough, glad you're with us. And for those of you watching on the AFA channel, that's Times Square, live here in New York, the belly of the news beast, where we come to you from every single day. In fact, we're working on stories today that the rest of the news cycle reports on tomorrow. So thanks for coming and being part of staying ahead of the news here at AFA Today. That's what we always try to do. Also, for those of you that have found what we do here to be helpful in some way, to enliven your passions, to raise awareness about something that you should be involved in or can passionately get connected to, or maybe you just needed a greater awareness of what was going on in the world altogether. Right now, we're asking to hear those stories from you, our listeners. Pretty soon, our Share-a-thon's going to be around the corner. You may actually hear one of your stories during the Share-a-thon. But the number for you to give us your stories on ways that, we've impacted your life, please dial 877-876-8893. It's 877-876-8893, 877, toll-free call, 876-8893, 877-876-8893, and let us hear from you. Kevin McCullough is my name. The phone number is 888-589-8840. The top of the news story that I told you today, the White House has added such a huge exemption to Obamacare that it has more or less pronounced the legislation dead. Kev, you might be stretching it a bit there. There might be some analysis on this that you haven't figured out yet, that there's a little bit more to this than what you're telling us. I'm just telling you what I've seen reported, and if what I've seen reported is true, Obamacare is dead. It's dead. Now, it committed suicide because Kathleen Sebelius and President Obama were the ones that wrote this stuff in. But they've got a new exemption on the individual mandate that is so overly broad that anybody could say they need to exempt out. If they had indigestion after breakfast, they could say, well, that made it hard for me to get insurance. That's my hardship, and I'm opting out. And when you take away the money, you take away the funding. And when you take away the funding, the law becomes anemic, can't be enforced. There's nothing there. There's no IRS enforcement. There's no fines. You take away the funding, it's all dead. And so now we have this lifeless corpse of Obamacare sitting there on the law books as just a piece of paper. And the president undid it. But he didn't undo it until he had destroyed the private health insurance industry, until he had wrecked the ability for average people to get insurance on their own and wrecked millions of people's insurance policies through corporations that they were working for. Hey, but other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how was the show? 888-589-8840. But that's not even the oddest headline of the day. By the way, here's one that will make people think something is odd. One big, it's a news site that tries to walk both sides of the aisle. But one of the liberal reporters at Mediaite.com quoted or summarized Governor Mike Huckabee speaking last night at the Susan B. Anthony List's annual gala in Washington. During his remarks, Huckabee urged Republicans not to abandon the abortion issue, saying that the abortion issue is how we win elections. This is not an issue that we should abandon, Huckabee told the crowd. I have a moral obligation before God and a political obligation unto the Declaration of Independence and our constitutional form of government to believe that life is a life worth living and a life is a life worth protecting. We can run the full gamut of what we believe. We don't have to reduce down to one flavor. That's not how we lose an election. That's how we win elections, and it's how we save this republic. I kind of like Governor Mike. He's kind of cool in the KMC book. I don't have to quit being pro-life and pro-family to believe that the government should take less money from each family. I did not become pro-life because I got into politics. I got into politics because as a pro-life person, I believe if we get this issue wrong, we will get all the other issues wrong. Friends, those words will preach. You don't believe in the sanctity and the dignity of the life and the individual and inherent right given by the creator of the individual, you will get everything wrong. Nearly. That's why what Chris Christie said at CPAC last week, where he basically came out and said, hey, we got to do the same thing that we did with Mitt McCain. Because the Mitt McCain elections, you know, the Mitt and the Mitt McCain elections, they worked out so well. Let's do it again. Elect me, Chris Christie. No, Governor Huckabee has it right. If we get the pro-life issue wrong, we will get almost everything else wrong in our worldview. You don't believe in the dignity, sanctity, protection of the innocent human individual? You're not going to protect the right things. Your value system is a muck. All right. Okay. So that was one. So the headline there, and I know all of my colleagues here in the news world in New York City, they're all walking up and down the street going, did you hear what Huckabee said? Opposing abortion's how they're going to win elections. Oh, that's funny. I can hear Chris Matthews already. He says, while he's trying to talk tonight on MSNBC. Governor Huckabee saying abortion's how they're going to win elections. What Chris Matthews and the rest of the media industry and the complex right down the street from where I'm coming to you from right now, what they fail to recognize is that Governor Huckabee is 100% right. And you don't have to be a brain surgeon to figure this out. You love and serve people, you're on the right path. A political party, a political candidate, a political ideology that is unwilling to protect, serve, and love people, they're doomed. And who needs more service and love and protection than the most innocent among us? You don't have to defend that position. That's an easy position to hold. And so for Republicans and Democrats that choose not to, be on notice. You're laughing at Governor Huckabee today, but he is 100% right. All right, the other odd headline today, and then I'm going to go back to calls. CBS News out of the San Francisco Bay Area. All kinds of sirens now going off. Headline reads the following. A medical commission, an independent commission led by a former U.S. Surgeon General. See, that's so deceptive because you had C. Everett Koop, who was a genius, and then you had that other Surgeon General. What's her name? The real crazy one under Clinton that was like forgiving condoms and pot to 3-year-olds. It's like, what? So the Surgeon General's obviously kind of spanned the gamut. But an independent commission led by a former U.S. Surgeon General has concluded. Are you ready for this? This is going to be awesome. That there is no compelling medical reason for the U.S. Armed Forces to prohibit transgendered Americans from serving, and that President Barack Obama should lift the decades-old ban without approval from Congress, according to a report being released today. The report said the Department of Defense regulations designed to keep trannies from joining or remaining in the military on the grounds of psychological or physical unfitness are based on outdated beliefs that require thousands of current service members either to leave the service or to forego medical procedures and other changes that could align their bodies and gender identities. Gender's a myth, folks. Sex is real. You can't change what God made you. Let's just be real clear. You chop off body parts, you reassign things, you start taking pills. None of it matters. You get killed by a bus 25 years after your surgery. They cut your DNA open. They cut you to the bone. They say, what killed him? Oh, wait a minute. It was a her. Sex doesn't change. Who you think you are is not who you are. God made you who you are. That's not to say that there's not Tons of reasons to show empathy and compassion for people that struggle in that area. But it is a struggle. And I don't know what type of blue ribbon commission this was, but if you have someone who's not convinced of what they are, even when their sex has said what they are, I would be inclined to believe that there might be some psychological unfitness as it pertains to troop morale and unit cohesion, especially in military operations. Something to think about. See, I told you. The Obamacare headline wasn't the craziest headline we had of the day. Anyway, let's go back to the phones. 888-589-8840. Dan is in West Virginia. Hi, Dan. Welcome. Glad you're on with Kevin McCullough.
Yes. Hi, Kevin. This is Bill from West Virginia.
Bill, sorry about that. We had you down as Dan somehow.
Oh, okay.
Go right ahead, sir.
Well, anyway, what I was calling about is, well, number one, I want to just thank you for your show, but I was also calling because, like you do say, where we got problems, but sometimes you don't say what we got to do to alleviate the problems. Just my thinking that anything you say, if you're saying there's something bad, you should say what they have to do to change it.
Part of what I do best, Bill, is let you see and examine for yourself what the truth is. So I obliterate the confusion, and then we have everything laying out on the table, and now you can honestly see what that is. Now, let me turn the question to you. What do you think should be done to change Obamacare?
Well, you said something about doing some legislature, so I imagine you should probably contact your congressman in your state and everything and say, look, you need to get to work on abolishing Obamacare with a law.
Right. Well, that's okay. I see what you're saying. Bill, and I appreciate the admonition. I think you're slightly mistaken only on this point. I do give lots of action points almost every day. And today I've already said multiple times, Congress still needs to repeal the Obamacare shell, the hull of what's left. They still need to get rid of that. They need to wipe that off the map and be done with it. Then they have a clean slate to start building healthcare reform in a way that is friendly to free markets, not punishable to the small business, and not persecuting the individual citizen, which Obamacare did all three. It punished small businesses, it persecuted the citizen, and it was a behemoth thing. It's more or less dead now. 888-589-8840. Let's talk to Scott in Texas. Hi, Scott. Welcome.
Yes. I just wanted to say that, I realize everything that you're saying is correct. It makes me quite perturbed, too. But there is a silver lining in the fact that, y'all been saying pray and pray and pray to make this country wake up and realize what Obamacare and Obama is doing to this country. And, maybe God is answering our prayers. He don't always answer them the way that we are asking him to, but he does answer.
That's true.
Maybe we got a silver lining here and we don't even realize it.
No, I think that's one of the reasons why I was so glad to do this story today. I do think that Obamacare coming to an end is an incredible thing. Babies' lives will be saved. Death panels will not be empowered. Euthanasia of old people that they just want to get out of the way for political purposes, that'll be done. There won't be any of this stuff, this kind of, weird futuristic horror show coming. But in order to not have that stuff happen, did we really have to destroy a sixth of our economy? Did we have to completely, fundamentally reshape an entire privatized industry that is now all but non-existent? 888-589-8840. Let's go to Craig in Illinois. Hi, Craig. Welcome.
Hey, glad to be with you. I just had a comment. Enjoy your show. Listen to you about every day. But real quickly, I'll try to make it brief. Have you ever heard of ICD-10?
ICD-10. I'm not sure if I have.
ICD-9, healthcare is under ICD-9 right now, which is the International Classification of Disease, which is how we as physicians code a diagnosis, okay, on insurance or to, Medicare, Medicaid, etc. ICD-10 is going to be mandated to take effect on October 1 of this year. ICD-9 has approximately 17,000 codes. ICD-10 will have somewhere between 70 and 150,000 different codes.
Yeah, good night.
But here's the point. It's going to wreak havoc on reimbursements because CMS has not even beta tested their software to read these codes yet. A lot of your insurance companies have not done widespread testing. And what our medical societies and professional societies are telling providers is to have no less than 3 months overhead in the bank because your reimbursements may drop by 50 to 80%.
Wow. Craig, I'm so sorry we got you on at the end of the show. I could talk to you about this for another 5 minutes, but thank you for informing us about it. Man, that's a bomb waiting to go off that nobody knew about, except a few people like Craig, the physician in Illinois. Thank you for that updated information. I'm going to go do some research on that now. Kevin McCullough, so honored to have you with us each and every day. Thank you for coming to AFA Today on AFR Talk. We do our best to obliterate confusion, amplify truth, pursue clarity. We like to call ourselves binge thinkers, and I'm grateful that you're on the journey with us. Also grateful that you're listening to AFR Talk every day. And again, if you've got a listener story that exemplifies why this has meant so much to you, call us 877-876-8893, 877-876-8893. Brian Fisher, the Silver Fox, is next here on AFR Talk. I'm Kevin McCullough. We'll see you tomorrow.